Today, Lynette and I, Lindsay, that's me, we will discuss why teens should have a job in high school. Teens need to learn work ethic in order to get a job for any paying job during college and the teen's future life. According to debate.org, teens need to learn how to manage their own money by getting a job. By managing money, it will help the teen get to feel the balance of saving money for college or other important needs the teen has, but still have money to spend for fun activities without spending all their money. This balance is a life skill that all teens need to learn to have. With teens having jobs during their high school career, it will help the economy. Teens will help more money circulate through the world. There will be more experienced teens in the work area and more people with jobs that produces educated young adults. According to debate.org, the jobs will increase 35% if teens get a job in high school, even if it is a part-time job.
Teens need to get a job in high school because their families might not have a comfortable amount of money. The parents can't afford to give the teen everything. If some teens want something, they have to work for it and buy it themselves. Teens need to pay their way. Teens cannot rely on their parents' income for not necessary things. Teens should have a job so they can help with their parents' income. If they want something, they buy it on their own. Also, teens need to get a job so they can have the experience. They're going to be on their own in a couple of years. They need to know how to take care of themselves, be ready, and have a job so that they can live. They no longer have their parents. They are on their own, so they really do need to know what to do and how to do it. According to debate.org, working while in high school is beneficial because it helps a student get their priorities in order. While other students may spend their free time partying, a working student is able to be productive in their free time while saving money for college. Working also helps students learn balance. If a person truly wants to work while in school and keep their grades up, they will be able to do so with no problems. Some teens are in sports and activities and they still have a job, but they are also still in school. They should make time, and if some teens can do it, all teens can do it. When you're 18, you need to pay things for yourself because you don't have your mom and dad anymore.
Can't teens learn how to manage money in other ways, like if parents give them allowance? Because some teens, they can't, like you said, all teens can get a job. Well, other teens are in different activities, and all those activities require more time. So some teens can't get a part job because of the time consumed.
But there is also weekends that they can work, and most bosses that most bosses make time for, like, they work with the student schedule.
They're really flexible. And take Kincaid, for example. He is a working student, and he is in wrestling, cross country, and track. So, and he still has a job.
But take, like, Faith Meyer, for example. She's not even here. She's in volleyball, basketball, track, cross country. She's in more activities than Kincaid, and she doesn't have time for a job. She doesn't have a job. And if they don't have a busy enough, if some bosses won't hire some teens because they have too busy of a schedule, and then they can't get a job, then what would you do to that teen?
What? Can you repeat the question?
If a teen can't get a job because the boss doesn't like their work hours and they're too busy, and you say all teens should have a job, what would be their consequence?
They would their boss would be flexible, though, because they want workers and they want to have that. And other people could work for them if they were gone, because that's called filling in. And if you text your coworker They will fill in with you.
Then you wouldn't get paid. You say teens
Yeah, but
need
you
to
would
pay
still
for
get
things-
paid because you would work other times when you weren't busy, like weekends, because sometimes you don't have events on weekends.
You say teens need to pay for things on their own. Does that mean food, gas money, braces, etc. should be paid on their own? Sometimes a part-time job can't give you that much money to pay for all those things.
Well, you're going to be on your own in a couple of years, so you would have to pay for that on your own when you're 18. So you really do need to learn how to get in the swing of things.
You also said having a job, it helps the teen be responsible. Is having a job really the only way to become a responsible teen person?
No, because there's other activities that a teen can learn to be responsible, but this helps the economy, like we announced, and that it would help the teen get the feel of their everyday life when they're older.
You also said it also makes them a mature person. By having a job, does that automatically make them a mature person? There are a lot of other ways to manage their maturity.
Jobs are
No, you're done.
okay.
You're done.
I got a lot more questions.
Okay.
I must have molded you. Like, I'm-
I get 3 minutes. Can you tell me when I'm halfway? Alright. Most teenagers wake up at 6 to 7 every morning to go to school. School starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. Teenagers are supposed to get 8 hours of sleep per night. That means that most people go to bed at 10 or 11. That's 7 hours for free time, but lots of students are involved in extracurricular activities with an average of 2 to 3 hours of homework per day. That doesn't leave a lot of time to get a job. I'm going to use myself as an example. I get up at 6 every day until school gets over until 3. I have football practice from 3 to 5:30 or 6, unless I have a game. If I have a game, which is every Monday and Thursday, I will not be home until 8 o'clock. This happens to be my schedule for every day. So when exactly do I have time for a job? Half the time, I don't even have time to get my homework done, so there is no way I have time for a job. I am definitely not the only one with a busy schedule. Anyone that is involved in extracurricular activity is not going to have a lot of time for a decent paying job. Another huge part of teenagers' life is their grades. Grades are definitely the most important part of school, and if you're too busy to work at a job, you aren't spending as much time on your schoolwork. For most teenagers, it's hard enough for them to get their homework done when they're involved in extracurricular activities, so that definitely does not leave them enough time to get a job. Another problem that some teenagers face are disabilities. Some kids physically may not be able to work. What are they supposed to do? Lastly, weekends. You may think that maybe people can work on the weekends because there is lots of time for them to do stuff, but Saturdays are filled with lots of tournaments for most teenagers that last most of the day. Finally, Sundays are supposed to be used for church and family days. The fact of the matter is teenagers that are active in extracurricular activities do not have time for a job.
Chase, there are about 81.9% of teens that still have jobs and still balance their time with extracurricular activities, such as football, wrestling, etc. Even though you say there is not enough time, there is. You can always make time, and you also have to take into account how many people actually don't get 8 hours of sleep and still do all this stuff without 8 hours. People just like to say they don't have time for parties, Xbox, and just their things that they can do on their own time. People can make that time for jobs and still have time to do that on their own time. You also pointed out the fact that there are tournaments on Saturdays and Sundays. Most stores are closed on Sundays, and if you have the right job and the right boss, you do not have to worry about that. As long as you tell them ahead of time that you have a tournament on that Saturday, I'm guaranteeing you that they will work around that schedule. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say that if you want to have a decent amount of sleep with a decent grades, a decent social life, a decent athletic life, then you're not going to have enough time for a job. If you get up at 6 o'clock every day to go to the weight room or work out, You go to school the rest of the day. You have a game till 8 o'clock. Most days you don't have time for a job. Plus you gotta get your homework done. That's not getting to bed till like 12 a.m. If you have tests, you don't get to bed till really late. You gotta study for the next day. It doesn't leave a lot of time.
Chase, there are jobs that you can get out before 8 o'clock, and like I said before, as long as you tell your boss around your sports schedule, they will work around it. And getting home about 8 o'clock should be plenty enough time to get done with most homework as long as you do not procrastinate.
Well, have you taken in the fact the time it takes to take a shower, eat, talk to your family? I mean, you don't get home at 8 o'clock, go straight to your homework and then straight to bed. There's other things you have to take into effect.
How long does it usually take a male to shower?
Usually about, well, it depends on how long the male likes to shower. Sometimes it takes like 20 minutes, sometimes it can take like 3 seconds. You know, it doesn't take that long a time, but then you have to go eat, you know, your mom has to make supper. Sometimes it takes my mom 30 minutes to make supper. Kelly, I tell you, she takes a really long time to make supper. And by the time it's already 9 o'clock, and then I have like 2 hours of homework, but I want to get up early and go to the weight room, which starts at 6, and then I got to be ready for the game tomorrow, which I have to get my stuff together. It just doesn't leave a lot of time.
Do you think the time that your mother is making supper that you can at least get a crack on that homework?
Well, usually I try to, but then I have to get all my football stuff ready for the next day, and that takes a while because I have to find everything, and then thank you, Mr. Kincaid. Doesn't he have to go to?
Why don't you think teens should not have jobs? In my family, I have to buy most of everything I need or want. Every day I have to work, and most of the time I don't have enough time to play Xbox or PlayStation. Most rich teens have their parents buy everything they want or need. I don't have time to do anything really when I get home, and and 25% of teens don't have jobs, and 75% of teens have jobs to work around, like sports and stuff. Most teens are just lazy and they don't want to do anything like work, sports, homework, like me last year.
What's your question?
Some people with disabilities, they still work. Like, they get enough money to go out there and do whatever they want. Like, stuff. Like,
I still don't know what you're trying to ask me.
why don't you think teens should not have jobs?
I'll answer this again, okay? Teenagers don't have a lot of time to get jobs when they're too busy with athletic activities, especially if they want to work overtime trying to get better instead of just the regular practices.
Some people, they're like not in sports, so they probably have time when they get home from work, school. They probably can just go straight to work, and when they come home, they can eat, sleep, whatever they want to do.
Ask it again.
Not everybody's in sports, so they probably could have time to go to work when they get home from school, and they have enough time to do whatever they want. So,
So are you asking me if teens that aren't in extracurricular activities have time to go to work?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're, don't answer that.
oh.
I do not think that teens should have jobs. If teens have jobs, they won't have time to do sports or school activities. They may not have time to spend holidays with family and friends. If you don't show up to practice, your coach might be mad and you won't get to play your activity. Then if your coach makes you go to practice, and you miss work, your boss will be mad at you. How do we have enough jobs for teens? Then we have child labor laws. So then we can only work for so long. You may want a job so you can get away from your parents and not want to spend time with them on the holidays.
I think teens should have jobs. 71% of the people say that teens should get a job according to debate.org. Research shows that some teens may get lower grades and even into trouble with drugs and alcohol. According to debatewise.org, getting paid job is normal for a part growing up. It's a part of growing up. For centuries, teens have ordinary members of workforce, and since education became compulsory, hundreds of millions of students have successfully combined school with a part-time job. Students have found that working a few hours outside of school does not harm achievement, so there is no reason to abandon it. Even if having a job did affect students' education, teens are old enough to make their own choice. If it shows to be forced on the official ban in the Metro Philadelphia area. The students reveal
As what have been said by the others.
Go ahead.
As what have been said by the others, I still stand firm on opposing that teens should not have jobs. Responsibilities are not done by doing jobs, but studying hard, leaving no stone unturned for one to achieve and get the best results. Everything is done at the right time and at the right place. I myself, as an example, my parents provide everything for me, and what I can do in return is working hard and achieve the best in my studies. As we all know that one needs to exercise in order to maintain physically and mentally fit. As the wise man said, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Studying the whole day and doing extracurricular is enough for a teen rather than spending extra 4 hours in a job. This might be more tiresome and interferes the teen result. Job is not the only way to prove one's responsibilities and maturity, but rather working hard and concentrating in classes in addition to physical education. This sounds more perfect and sensitive for a teen. Well, you are opposing that one needs to look for the income. I can say that it's not important. You can spend wisely from your parents, Stephen. I believe that our
You're
parents
done.
love us.
You're done. Sorry.
Done?
Jenny, your turn.
1 minute.
having a part-time job can make students more positive about education. Experience of work makes them think about future careers. This may motivate them to go to college, and they see the point in working hard to get good grades so they can get a better job. And serving customers, working hard in the job, and having to manage their time with well can help students develop a more professional approach to their studies. Finally, most university students have to work to pay their way through college, so having a part-time job in school will help them to prepare for this. Even if you don't have to necessarily have a job in school, you can have a job in the summer.
I think that teens shouldn't have jobs when they are still in school. Teens should stay in school so that way they can get their education that they need, so that they can have a higher education to graduate out of school. For example, like, take me for example, I'm a student and I'm still in school, and I want to be still learning about the for the future. That I don't need a job yet. I also think that teens are participating in sports after school, and can't work after school, then that's very bad for their physical education.
We all know that teens need jobs. Teens need jobs so that they can help provide for the family or buy their own things, and they want to They don't have to put stress on their parents. Even though teens need to enjoy their childhood, they need to learn responsibility and good work ethic. I feel for many reasons that teens need to learn good work ethic and a job is a very good way to do that. I think that my group has made many great points such as family, income, work ethic, and not being lazy. Teens need to have experience for the future. These are all good reasons why teens should have a job. Thank you.
Acquiring jobs for teens will cause stress to some because the workforce treats them with disrespect or unfairly. Also, the extracurricular activities they have after school will just add on time where they can't work. And you're saying that most of the teens are 18. Teens are still like 13 and 8th grade getting ready for high school, not the real world. You've got all your life to work, enjoy your childhood while you can.